So I'm here with Mr. Jim Buford, who has been a veteran of you're a veteran of 2 wars, right, Jim?
Veteran of 3 wars.
3 wars.
I'm a veteran of 3 wars.
Let me start over. We'll cut that part out.
Okay.
It is so important to remember and honor those that have served. So this year on Memorial Day, I'm pleased to bring you an interview with my next door neighbor, Jim, who was a Korean War and Vietnam War veteran. I think you're going to gain a lot from this interview and from his insights into this country's past and where we're headed. Thank you.
Guys, I'm here with my neighbor, Mr. Jim Buford. He's a veteran of 3 wars, including World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War, right, Jim?
Right.
And I just learned...
There are those who say that we are living in times without heroes. And I think that maybe we're just not looking hard enough. I've lived next door to Jim Buford since moving to Franklin, Tennessee in early 2016. And although I knew that he was an American War veteran, I never took the time until this year to really get to know him, to learn about his experiences or his travels or even the wars that he served in. I suppose it was the passing of his wife, Betty, this year that gave me pause to think about his life, and one day caused me to walk over to his house, knock on the door, not even sure how to ask about his life, but I'm so glad that I did. You know, we're so busy these days with all manner of distractions, but when it comes to those who have risked life and death with our freedom on the line, should we ever be that busy? I think not. As many of you know, our freedoms are under attack right now from enemies both foreign and domestic. Today is Memorial Day. It's a time to stop and remember, and to ask the questions, and to teach our children about why men and women have to fight, and what's at stake if they don't. This is a very short tribute and a highly condensed video to a 3-time war veteran who has crossed the globe for almost 30 years, defending our freedoms.
How many total years were you in armed services of any type?
26.
26 years. Wow. Yeah. Was there more of a love for America, in your opinion, back when you were joining the military? Yeah.
Much more. Today it's chaos.
Do people you think they're taking it for granted, the freedoms they have? They don't realize...
They don't realize what the freedoms are and how much people have fought for them.
Mm-hmm. But a lot, you said there were some... Did you have friends that passed away in the wars overseas?
Oh yeah, many of them. People who I've known have given their lives for the U.S. Lots of them. That's...
Yeah. And you feel like that was a worthy and noble goal and cause?
Yes.
And yeah.
But the thing was that they died for what they believed in. And that is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
We might not have had any freedom if we hadn't fought.
You know, there's the philosophy of socialism and communism seems to be gaining popularity in people's minds versus free market and capitalism and kind of traditional American way of thinking. In all the different wars that you were a part of, I mean, we were fighting those communist ideas in all of them, right?
That is correct. Very much so. Because these people were trying to also live in democracies. They wanted their liberties the same as we have. Mm-hmm. And we tried to provide it.
So what would you say, Jim, was the number? I mean, because some people today say, well, that would be a good thing.
Well, look at it this way. The Chinese have no liberties they're controlled completely by the leaders, and they have no say so really in anything.
Mm-hmm.
The party says this is it, you do it.
Yeah.
Nothing. You have no liberty, you have no life. The more I read, the more I find out what that means.
What do you mean by that?
That we have liberty, personal liberties. No, sir.
Now, many would say that Jim's thoughts and words are based on a mid 20th century understanding of the world, and that the old ways of communism and socialism have been updated with the new democratic socialists of today in America. And I don't want to be political here, but this is from January 6th, and I was amazed at all of the Chinese people who were very afraid of the influence of the current modern day Chinese Communist Party and their influence in the United States, and that we would begin to see a loss of our freedoms here. And I can tell you firsthand, there was real fear on the faces and voices of these Chinese people.
I went to Vietnam, the war was going on there. Was stationed at Da Nang, and just across the river was Agent Orange sword. And I received the results of it.
For the people that don't know, can you explain what Agent Orange was and how all that happened?
Agent Orange is a defoliation agent. It's the same as, basically, it's the same as Roundup.
Okay, yeah. And Roundup's in all kind of trouble these days.
Well, that's what this is too.
Yeah.
So, as a result of that, I got diabetes, heart problems, and lung problems.
Mm-hmm.
The diabetes went into effect in 1986. I was diagnosed with it.
Well, you said, when we talked yesterday, you said, I see what's coming.
Yeah.
Tell me about what do you see coming?
Well, I see people are looking at it on a give me basis. In other words, give me this, give me that, and not working.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it amounts to.
Yeah.
The people aren't going to be working. Nobody's working.
Yeah. And then pretty soon, like, inflation spins through the roof, and
Well, and there won't be anything to be inflated.
you can print all the money you want, but it will be valueless, right?
I mean, that's what it amounts to.
How has your, this may be a tough question, how has your faith, Jim, informed your life as especially as a service member in the armed forces, and how has your belief in God affected you, even your patriotism for this country?
I believe in God, and I believe God will take care of me. On top of that, I have a very strong faith in God. I try to follow the Bible completely. That starts where it starts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think looking at this country,
Mm-hmm.
when it was begun, it had a strong fear. I say fear.
Fear of the Lord, right?
Fear of the Lord. In other words, give him the respect that he's due, is what they. The fear is not. It's not the fear that we're going to be damned, but
It's a respect.
it's
right?
a respect.
Yeah. Do you see a hope? Is there something you hope for the future? And say,
I can see hope as long as people follow God.
mm-hmm.
That's what I can see.
So it's got to come back to that.
Yeah, they're going to have to come back to that.
Yeah. A lot of young people, and I shouldn't just say young people, a lot of people these days in America, they think that these socialist and communist ideas are godly ideas, things from God. Talk to that for a minute, because as I've studied history, almost every communist regime and communist leader is very disconnected from God and does not like the idea of a Christian God.
They do not and will not follow a Christian philosophy.
Tell me why.
Because if they do, they're breaking their own thoughts. Really, mm-hmm. They're tearing apart their thoughts pertaining to communists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, my hope is the same as yours. I hope that people turn back to God, turn back to Jesus.
Thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate the service and your time and sacrifices, and I'm honored to interview you and you be my neighbor.
Yeah. I'm a neighbor. If you need me, I'll.
I sure will. I sure will. Well, thank you, Jim, and let's check out some of these medals. I want to see these medals over here.
Okay.